Welcome in. Good morning. How is everybody doing today? We are just getting started, so I am going to give everybody a quick moment to jump on once they get the notification. We'll officially start our walk in 3 minutes here at 8:30. Had to push it back about 30 minutes so that I could get my daughter off to a school competition this morning. Happy chilly Saturday. Yes. Clyde, it is, I think it's on my watch, 46 degrees. It's a bit chilly. I'm looking forward to starting this walk very, very quickly. So welcome in, guys. So before we get started here, so I get ready on my watch, we have 2 minutes. Before we get started with it is a 45-minute motivational walk, POV, and we are here at the Port Orleans Resort, starting here at the French Quarter. So a couple of thoughts with that in our 2 minutes before we get going. Hello and welcome in. This is a little bit different from a theme park or our usual live streams. You're watching a motivational walk training run POV that you can use on your treadmill, that you can use on your spin bike, however you like it, if you just want to enjoy a cup of coffee and watch along. But here, I'll say hello real quick. Hello, guys. So I've been waiting to share this for a while. I got this big sweatshirt over at Universal, and I thought this was so awesome. It's my Raptor running club. So welcome in. This is a 45-minute POV, which means this will be the last time that you see my face. Everything is going to be a point of view, so you can put it up on whatever device that you'd like, watch along, and then we will tour the Port Orleans Riverside on their running or walking trail. And you have a couple of choices. I am going to chit chat. I'm going to give you some history, some facts about the Port Orleans property as a whole. And I'm also have some, what I think is some pretty fun Disney related flair as far as motivation. Instead of having a story today, I have something fun in store regarding Disney characters and adversities, and I think you're gonna like it. I put some good thought into it. So with that, don't forget, hit the thumbs up. If you are new, subscribe, and if you're watching on the replay, hello. So again, the watch and the rules are there. It is 45 minutes. We are going to get started. Let me hit my watch here and you guys can hit yours. Okay. So let's get started here at Port Orleans French Quarter. So they have some absolutely beautifully stunning grounds. Landscaping is on point. I find this to be, and I think that I see this a lot with people who vacation and watch the streams, that they love Port Orleans as well. And we're going to talk about both sides together and kind of individually. So before we get into that, again, just a reminder, if you don't want to hear me chit chat the whole time, we always recommend, Adam likes to do this, I do too, on our treadmill. You can put this up on a bigger screen and then listen to whatever music. Listen to whatever music you like. Oh, can't go that way. Some blockades. Listen to whatever music that you'd like in your earbuds and just enjoy the view. So whether you are running, walking, jogging, spinning along with us, maybe you're just enjoying a nice breakfast, welcome in. Thank you so much for watching. And I should mention that I have a whole playlist of them. So if you happen to enjoy these, you can go watch the playlist of prior live motivational walks, or you can out our playlist of recorded videos that are set to music. Welcome in, guys. So we're heading up here on the Passholder River, and this is the French Quarter side of the property. There are two pieces of property that make up Port Orleans as a whole, and the history of it is actually quite interesting and fun, how it's evolved over the years. And I think that's one of the things that I've enjoyed the most about some of these walks that I've done is right along with you, I have had a great time going to the different resorts and looking up the history of them. It's really interesting to just kind of show up and you say, this one looks fun, or just the theming is your preference and you pick it based on that. But I've learned a lot. So right here, we just passed, there is a boat dock here for the Passholder River that takes you to Disney Springs. So both the French Quarter, where we're at, and the Riverside utilize boat transportation to get to Disney Springs. When we come back, we'll see the pool. Well, not only is it too early in the morning, but it's quite cold. There's nobody in the pool. I doubt there will be anybody in the pool today. There could be some brave souls, but it is 46 degrees. I actually enjoy it. I'm a little chilly. I probably should have worn some sort of glove, but alas, I did not have any. I didn't think about it because when was the last time it's cold enough that your fingers are kind of freezing? It was 41 when I got up. Remember, this is Florida. This is not my home state of Wisconsin. So 41's a bit cooler for these parts. So the French Quarter, as the name implies, has theming out of New Orleans. They've really taken that and ran with it because they have put so much in the parks and just the IP of Tiana and Princess and the Frog. And they've been able to incorporate that into this resort quite a bit. Now we're coming up on something here I wanted to point out. You can see right now they are doing quite a lot of refurbishments and renovations. Now, I didn't think that this resort, of the ones I've been in, which is a number of them, I didn't think that this one was as in need of repair as some of the others that I've seen. But I have seen a few of the rooms here at Port Orleans French Quarter that have been redone. They look fantastic. And I'm looking, and they're not finished yet. So you can see we just went by, and we'll see it when we come back this way. We'll see more of the construction, kind of the outside of it. You know, of course, you don't see what's going on inside, but you know, they have a lot of barricades up where they're working at this particular time. You can see that building there is currently one that is in the works. So they're still keeping with the theme, even though it's being renovated. It's not a complete changeover or reimagining. So I'm going to pull up some of the history of these guys as we walk into Port Orleans Riverside. So it's like two entities in one. It wasn't always that way. And the way that it's set up is, if you don't know the history behind it, I know I've kind of been like, what in the world? Like, why is it's together but it's separate? Because not everybody, knows the park and the property has been around 50 years. Well, plus when you think about all the design and construction. And in that time, even just in the last 10 years, there's been a lot of changes. I talk about this sometimes when I go over to Caribbean Beach. Wow, how big that property was and how much they took from that property to create the Riviera Resort. And then you add in the Pop Century just down the way, which added in Art of Animation. And that whole section over the years has changed a lot too. But here, so what's interesting is, since we were in the French Quarter, we started there. I gotta make sure my pace is on right here. Make sure I turn down my watch quick before I tell my tales, my stories. Yep. So I keep it right at about the 16-minute pace. That is the Run Disney minimum to walk, run, jog in their longer distances. So if you are following along, that's about how fast I'm going. My watch right now said 16:20. But when it comes to history of this property, we started in the French Quarter, and I liked that because, one, I'll probably bring some beignets home to the kids and to Adam. But it opened prior to what you see here today with the Riverside. So it opened in May of 1991. It's famous for the beignets that I just talked about. Lots of people come all over. And it is one of the only properties on Walt Disney World Resort where they're pretty reasonable. If you want to come in and enjoy one of the famous beignets, they are right in the lobby. It's called Scat Cat. And they have traditional beignets that you can get dipping sauces, but you can also typically get a seasonal. A seasonal type beignet. Sorry, it's getting around a little family there. And in addition, over in the French Quarter, opened in May 1991. We'll go back. We'll see the Sea Serpent pool. Mentioned it a little bit there. That just got a complete refurbishment. They drained it. I think it was over the summer when I was here with you guys. Completely drained it, repainted it, refurbished it. Looks great. And then they have the Mardi Gras pool bar that's there. But so it was opened as Port Orleans, 1991. I kind of love that it worked out that I came right into this main area, because it kind of gives you a picture as you walk along. This was not always Port Orleans Riverside. So right in this main area, you can pick up a horse carriage right here. This is right where you see it. And you can, it's nightly, it's $65. I think they add in tax to that, so it's like right around $70. You can call, and space available. Sometimes, not often, but sometimes if they have some extra opportunity, you can just kind of walk up and get on the carriage. So we're going to follow the Surrey Bike Trail, the running path, into Alligator Bayou. But now you can kind of see this main area for what it is. And as we turn the corner, this kind of gives you the biggest tip off that this is really kind of Old South themed. And it was originally opened as, many of you know it, but Dixie Landings. And if you're not big on Disney history, it's not, I know it's taken me time over the years. You know, you hear some of these things like, what's Dixie Landing? And where's this, you know, island that's forbidden over by the Magic Kingdom, by the campground, and things that are no longer, but you hear kind of rumblings of it and you're not really sure. Well, here we are. You're looking at it. This right here is Dixie Landings. And this opened in February of 1992. And so this was essentially 2 different resorts. Hence why you see they are neighbors. But when you walk through, you know, we saw there's a big roadway bridge that divides them. You know, but they're neighbors and they're like together, but not really. So that's why they opened at different times. They had different names. Now there is 2 essentially sections. Right now we are in Alligator Bayou. So when you're booking your rooms, you can see the differences tremendously. Here, I'm going to move up ahead, okay? Hang tight. So when you are getting a room and you think, you know, you're not quite sure where the layout is, there's a distinct difference. This is kind of a wooded, as it indicates, a bayou type area, more swampy feeling with all these trees here. And then we're going to turn the corner and you see these big, beautiful, almost like mansion like buildings. And that over there we're about to get into. Before we get into that, we're just passing what you won't see unless I come in there, which I can when we come back around, is Old Man Island, and that's where their beautiful pool deck is located, off to your right. And you can go in there. The horse carriage comes around in there and then it comes down this way. But, so there's little bridges that connect into that island. So here, this is a great opportunity here. Alligator Bayou rooms, kind of a brick, more of a southern homes type feel. And then as we get in here, we're going to see that next to it is Magnolia Bend. And those buildings for the rooms, you know, it kind of gives you this feeling like you're in this big plantation mansion. Over in the Magnolia Bend buildings, they have the princess rooms. And I keep saying I want to do a video. I really, really do. Because I don't feel like there's not enough information. Like, I don't feel like nobody's shouting from the rooftops about these amazing princess rooms that are here in Magnolia Bend. So if you have somebody in your party, no matter the age, because I think I would be really excited to stay in them, but Magnolia Bend has these phenomenal the little details and intricacies. Even though I haven't stayed in them, I've seen plenty of pictures and seen them renovated. They are fantastic. Fantastic. Especially for a moderate resort. You cannot go wrong. So it's on my list. It's on my list. So now you can kind of see these almost sprawling plantation type buildings on the right. But so Need a Dish Trip wants to know, how can you park here? Sure. Maybe I didn't finish my story earlier. I probably didn't. I have an awful habit of starting a thought and sometimes not finishing it. But Port Orleans, French Quarter. Riverside, I'll tell you another tip. If you wish to come visit, this is probably one of the only resorts on Walt Disney World property that is very accommodating to anybody who wants to come in by a vehicle, a car. You can make it part of your Disney Springs day and take the boat back and forth. But if you come into the French Quarter, make sure you let them know you're coming to get beignets, and that's what you need to do. Like, I'm not telling you to lie and say, get your beignets. But, come in. If you're coming to get beignets, they will let you park there, walk around for a little while. Also, over here at River Roost and Port Orleans Riverside, they very much want you to come see Yeehaw Bob Jackson. And you can let them know that you're coming to the River Roost. It's like a bar lounge. It's very small. It's not huge. But he's a legendary Walt Disney World performer, and he only performs on certain days. So you need to take a look and see what days he's here, because sometimes he takes long vacations. I mean, I think he's been here 30 years, more than 25, more for sure. So you can park, yes, you can park for free and explore if you are going to partake of any of their food and beverage options. But any of the other resorts, it is a no-go. It's a no-go. So do not attempt such things at other resorts, because they will give you a pretty resounding no. So you'll get many people that will give you advice. The only advice I have is, A, you can start at Disney Springs or one of the theme parks, pay to park, or if it's included in one of the tickets or passes you have, you can do that. Park at the resorts, take the bus to any of these locations, or Disney transportation. But otherwise, it is a no-go. But here at Port Orleans, they're really welcoming for those two occasions. If you want to grab a nice beignet or come to the River Roost and see Yeehaw Bob Jackson in the evening. Yes, and Yeehaw Bob Jackson is a phenomenal show. It had been many years where I thought I'd heard of his performances and how everybody just loved him, and it's, even though it is technically a bar, it's extremely, very family friendly. Like, very family friendly. And so, but he makes it, his entertainment in such a way, it's so enjoyable by all ages. So if you haven't done that on one of your Disney trips and you have some time, you know, I don't think, to be honest, I don't think if you only have time for parks, I wouldn't sacrifice a park to see Bob Jackson. Now, there are things on property where I'd say, well, might be worth your time to skip a park day and do this. Yeehaw Bob is good, but I wouldn't forgo expensive park time. So, but there's lots of times where you're looking for something that's different, unique, that you haven't done before. Okay, we are about halfway on our 45-minute motivational walk here at Port Orleans. This is one of the roadways and bridges I was talking about that sort of divides what was Dixie Landing and Port Orleans. And then in 2001, it was renamed to Port Orleans French Quarter and then Port Orleans Riverside as you see it today. So Dixie Landings was no more. And I should mention too, since we were talking about the River Roost, it's right there in that lobby building. There's also a full service restaurant in that lobby and resort. There is no full service in the French Quarter. So if that's something that's important to you, you want more than a quick service, because there is quick service at the French Quarter. But if you want a sit-down location, you can stay at the French Quarter and walk over, kind of like I'm doing now, or just plain stay at the Riverside. So they have boat rides, and I've tried it. It's not bad. I wouldn't say it's my favorite on property. I wouldn't say it's my least favorite. I would just say, you know, it's good. If there's things on the menu, I think you'll enjoy it. Like, you know, things that stick out to you when you look at the menu. So I would say my opinion of it was mediocre. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It just was average. Nothing wrong with it. But they do have full service, which is nice. Sometimes you just want to go sit down and enjoy. So we're heading back in to Port Orleans French Quarter, the original piece of Port Orleans. And now from this angle, we'll kind of walk through the resort a little bit and do a short back walk there. We'll come in through the side of the pool, so maybe you can see the sea serpent slide that everybody loves. But if you wanted to know how long is this jogging path, this is another one of the resorts that, from a Run Disney training type perspective, even though it's not on the Skyliner or a monorail, I would say many people who are in training enjoy this property for it's got quite a lengthy walking running trail, almost 2 miles, like 1.6, 1.7. It depends how much you zig and zag, because I can easily zig and zag through some of these buildings. So earlier we were talking about the refurbishments that are going on. You can see it a bit as we walk past some of the fencing here. All of the windows are covered up. So obviously they're doing some painting in there. I can see in there a little bit. I see that they have got new furniture crated in each room. It's not easily seen. I can kind of see it through some of the windows that have some a gap on the bottom of that. But they are getting new furniture. Our friends at Vault Collectibles did have some pieces from here, although I didn't see any. And tonight I have a video premiering about all the amazing things that they have in stock right now at Vault Collectibles. So a lot of renovations going. So this is a moderate resort, but just like all the other resorts, we just passed where they have a nightly campfire. They've got a bunch of activities like painting and their mosaics, their arts and crafts. That is all the same similar type activities and recreational options as all the other resorts too. That's awesome. Yeah. Walking on this path, humidity or heat or none, maybe you guys will agree, I find it to be very peaceful. Very, very peaceful. This is one of the resorts that is high on my list that, as far as staycations wise, especially with it being a moderate resort, I feel like it has a lot to offer. And I know everybody kind of thinks of the Riverside section as maybe their go-to, but I do really enjoy the French Quarter. I really do. And it's been a bit since I've stayed, but I was really lucky. The last time I was here, I stayed right in this building, number 2, right on the right. And although I didn't have we're probably passing it on the right now, but although I didn't have this pool view right ahead of us on the right, I was just down here, like just before it. It's really convenient. They have a splash area for kids with a small slide, but then they also have the big sea serpent in there that I feel like everybody thinks is really fun, and I think visually it adds a lot of fun to it. Welcome in, guys. So let me take a look at my watch. We got about 15 minutes left. We will head down. Oh, they're pressure washing. Okay. Hang tight. I'll resume my chat momentarily. One thing about the morning walks, Disney brings out all their landscapers early in the morning. Like anytime, I've seen them as early as 7:30, but they're really going through like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning. So if you're a late sleeper, maybe don't have a room by any large grassy areas. Might be a little loud. But welcome in. We got about 15 minutes. Let me see. Did I miss anything about the history here at Port Orleans? Let me take a look. We talked about Old Man Island, but you might have not noticed a pretty large pool. 158,000 gallons. The sawmill theming over there at Riverside is pretty fun. Well, here, I'll try to do this. I'll try to walk a little bit faster, and I'll walk into Old Man Island so you can see it a little bit. It's really kind of pretty in there. Picturesque. But I have found that just like some of the other resorts, like Caribbean Beach, I want to love Caribbean Beach so much, But that pool is crazy every time I go past there. I don't know what it is. Same thing over here at Riverside. Always crazy busy. But we will head in here, go over to Old Man Island. I'll take you around that path, and then we'll head back and wrap up. So you may have an extra little bit of time and be able to do a small cool down today. Everything is decorated for the holidays. When I came in this morning, the lobby of the Port Orleans French Quarter was really nice. Not a ton, still has kind of that Mardi Gras flair to it, but they have kind of your typical, I don't know, maybe like a 9-foot Christmas tree right in the lobby. Now, we are heading into Thanksgiving week here. If you're watching on the replay or just joining, it is a bit chilly. It was 46 when I started, 46 degrees. Usually I always see those temperatures here in Florida January. I'm not complaining at all, because it's not often that I can go out and run in any capacity or walk or, you know, any of those things and wear actual running pants. I'm almost always in shorts or like a running skirt, but never full on, full length pants. Nice. They're fixing that fence there. It had a few splinters in the top of it. That's why he pulled that board off. So I had prepared some really, I think they'll be entertaining, but you guys can just play along, have a good time. For motivational purposes, I picked a few Disney characters that we can discuss. Maybe we can apply them to our own situations. But I thought it'd be fun, put a bit of a Disney spin on it, talk about some characters who found adversity and overcame it, found the motivation. And there's a lot of Disney stories where they're just kind of fun watches. I don't think that they have any kind of deep meaning to them. But I'll kick it off so you kind of get an idea. Now I have some funny examples, and I have some funny ones. Then I have some that are, you know, serious, thought-provoking. And maybe at the end of this, if you end up thinking of a character that maybe inspires you, or
Kelly.
Oh, I know. Hi. So there is a number of characters that I find kind of inspirational, motivational, and I think maybe I should, learn from this, or something you can take away to make it kind of a fun aspect. So one of the characters I thought of was Zootopia and Judy Hopps. And I've got a couple examples, but Judy Hopps, you know, she grew up kind of getting bullied. She had these big dreams, and she also, her family really wanted to support her, but they didn't necessarily believe in her per se. You know, they were really skeptical. They were a little nervous, like, I don't think this is a good idea. I know you want to be in law enforcement and you want to be a police officer, but you're a bunny, and bunnies don't do that. And so she kind of seems like she was on an island all by herself, and through her whole life fighting this adversity of, you know, I don't think this is a good idea, I don't think you can. And through the movie, of course, you know, she is an officer and she is tasked, like, well, she's taken it upon herself, quite honestly, in the movie to figure out what is happening and why, what is happening to these animals, where they're going missing. And, you know, they just didn't really have faith in her. Nobody did. And I like that movie. I don't watch it often, but you think about, you know, how many times, like, you feel like you're Judy Hopps, and not only maybe are people making fun of you, and sometimes it's people that are straight making fun of you to your face or mocking you. And then there's times where it's even your friends or family who are like, yeah, that's so funny, you know, good luck with that. You know, that comes with running or working out. It's always kind of a big joke, right? There's a lot of people who take it seriously, but there's a lot of people who, you know, kind of use it to poke fun. And like, there's the 0.0 shirts and kind of poking a little fun of like, I wouldn't get out of bed for that. Nobody, who wants to pay to run, you know? And so from a Judy Hopps perspective and Zootopia, you know, the movie's a lengthy watch, but I think from a character, what a great example, like an awesome example of saying, you know, not only does nobody believe in her, but she has to kind of overcome adversities with her size. You know, she's a bunny. So they show you in her police training, she's trying to do all this stuff. And, you know, skills of exercise. Sorry. Thank you. You know, she's a bunny, so she has to maybe try a little harder. Well, that's funny. I didn't do that on purpose. There's fishing here, by the way, that we just, pole fishing. We just passed that.
Let's keep going.
You know, her size and her abilities are different than some of these really big, bulky animals that are well known for being, I don't want to say predators, but you know, they're just kind of athletic and kind of thought of as the animals that could get the job done. So I love the example of Judy Hopps and the motivation behind that, and how she doesn't ever stop. Like, she believes, she knows that there's something wrong, and like, this guy Emmett Otterton wouldn't just leave his family. Something deeper is probably going on that everybody's kind of dismissing, and they're not really looking into it. And then, you know, of course, she finds herself with an unlikely friend who I think makes it a little more complicated for her. But, you know, I looked up and I was kind of thinking of, like, who are Disney heroes? Like, who do we think of? You kind of think of Hercules and the song Go the Distance. Lots of Run Disney runners have that on their playlist. And again, like, Hercules is this big, strong, he has adversities that make things complicated for him, but he's kind of the typical hero. And that's why I thought to kind of start off, like, thinking about Judy Hopps and a bunny and how she's overcome a lot to get to where she was and solve problems. And when nobody else, literally nobody else, wanted to help her or appreciate her, she kind of lived in a not so nice apartment building. But looking at she always looked at the bright side of things. Looking at, hey, she never said, I live in this dump. Now, she had her moments, where she was kind of broke down and was concerned. Good morning.
That's just the first 2,000.
Okay. Skip ahead. Everybody's going to the lobby for breakfast. But yeah, so I thought another one who, again, does personify ambition and strength and kind of a motivational icon, Disney character, is, I'm going to start with Mr. Incredible. So, The Incredibles movie is about superheroes. That's lovely in and of itself. But if you watch the start of the movie, it starts out, he wasn't welcomed in his city. Nobody appreciated him. And even though he did a lot, nobody appreciated him. And he kind of decided to go into hiding with Mrs. Incredible, and they started this family. So he started missing the ability to help others. And why I like this, and I found kind of it motivational from a different perspective, was Mr. Incredible, he was kind of bummed out. He felt like his life was kind of monotonous. He was feeling like he wasn't contributing, and it was just missing something. And I think everybody has those moments and comes across those times where you just feel like, I'm really missing something, and I don't have anything. Like nothing's pushing me to get out there or do something, and you kind of feel down and out. And it really takes a lot of, in my opinion, bravery. It takes a lot of willpower to pull yourself out of that. Mrs. Incredible is amazing in her own right, and she definitely deserved that focus that was in her movie. But from this kind of conversation, he was really struggling. Like, who am I? And I'm just not where I want to be, and I don't feel like it, and I don't feel like I'm achieving all that I should. And I love that, because that is so typical of today for everybody. You feel like I could be doing more, and you just kind of feel down and out, right? You feel like, I wish I could do this, or I wish I could go here, or I'm just not good enough. And to get yourself out of that. And I think this is an awesome example, when you think about it, of how you can use that as an opportunity. Hold on. Golf cart approaching. Okay. He's turned. We're good. I thought it was... He was like slowly trailing me. But, I think taking that moment, and when you take the time to say, you know what? I'm going to get myself up. I'm going to figure this out. And I'm going to get myself back to where I want to be. And it's going to take hard work. But I know that I'm capable of so much more. And that's kind of how he was feeling in the beginning of it. And I liked that. Because, even as a kid, I see my kids who are teenagers, and even they can feel like that. They feel like disappointed or stressed when you run up against a situation. They feel like there's no chance. Maybe they got turned down from a school, a college or a job. And so it applies to everyone across life, that things can get you down, but picking yourself back up and saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get back to it, takes a lot of courage. It really does. Okay, I'll give you guys a funny one. So, so you guys know that I'm a fan of Potato Land. That is the Mickey short. You can find it on Disney Plus, and it features Mickey. And Mickey, this is my story. Mickey has overcome a lot. He is the hero of heroes in the Disney realm. But I thought this was funny. Hang with me. When all was lost and Mickey thought he was driving his friend Goofy to see his beloved Potato Land and that they would reach this like glorious place, he finds out that's not true, and he takes that opportunity, works through the night, tirelessly plans it out, and builds an entire potato theme park in one night. That is for sure some determination and love for their friends and family right there. And so Mickey has a ton of storylines that are about being a hero. That's just one kind of chuckle enjoyment that is fun, to laugh about, and they use that in a lot of ways. But yeah, even you in your determination can build a potato themed theme park overnight for your best friend if you put your mind to it. And so yes, but let me think here. Who are some of the other ones that I wanted to highlight? Let me see here. How about Aladdin? Or even Genie? That's an interesting storyline. Genie, who's kind of given his life for others, and he kind of feels this despair. And Aladdin makes this commitment and ends up freeing him in the end. And I really like the friendship aspect and the determination between those. Aladdin's like the unlikely hero, right? Aladdin's the one where, as he calls himself, he's just a street rat. He's nobody special. He's not super buff, but he does have the help of Genie. But there's a lot of things that he does and, makes the efforts to do things to, overcome the odds that are around him. And I liked that too. This is interesting too. Pixar is full of awesome storylines about motivation and determination and overcoming obstacles. I love the Up movie, of course. Mr. Fredricksen. Oh my gosh, my goodness. Way to start out a movie with me bawling tears in the first 5 minutes. Pixar. Like, I can't watch that movie without having just like the tears balling up in my eyes in the beginning of Up. But Mr. Fredricksen, they want him to move, get out of this house that he, in this life that he built with the love of his life. And, he just stands firm. And instead of just saying, you know what, I'm going to just give up and I'll move out. He stands firm, but then, it's like the most iconic, I'm going to find a way around this problem. So I'm just going to take tons of helium balloons and I'm going to move my entire house. Very far-fetched, of course. You know, stories don't have to be realistic to be fun. And so, but you know, that's really fun. And you know what I was thinking about too is, additionally, Monsters Inc. So Sully, again, as a Disney character, he's the one, he's well liked. Everybody loves him. He's like, especially in Monsters University, he's the best of the best. And he doesn't really have any issues. Like, he absolutely is fantastic. He's the best scarer. He comes from a long line. Like, he's got it all going for him. And isn't that true? There's a lot of people who sometimes you just look and you're like, oh my gosh, life is so easy for you. Like, why is you don't have anything to worry about? And of course, as all good movies go, Sully does come up on a lot of problems throughout the movies, and he has to kind of accept that and move through it. But then I think my favorite character, you guys, as we kind of pull into the end here of our walk, is Mike Wazowski. And I thought that was kind of great. All the boats are out on the Sassagoula River now. It's getting past the early morning hour. But Mike Wazowski wants nothing more than to be what Sully is. And what I love about this storyline, and I hope that you take this story and kind of think about it differently today. And this is not just, I had this prepared before the big announcement yesterday for Hollywood Studios, so we'll leave that for another day. But Mike Wazowski, all he wants is to be what Sully is. And he does work hard, unfortunately. And it's just, he struggles. But I think what it is amazing to remember in that is that everybody has different talents. And you can work really hard, and you can be what somebody else is. You can be a runner, you can be a jogger. And maybe in some cases, like if you have a disability that you truly can't, but you can do it, the same things, but in different ways and different flavors of that. You know, there is, whether you are in a wheelchair or whether you, maybe in Mike Wazowski's case, maybe he wasn't the best scarer, but you know what he was? He was amazing at helping Sully and kind of manage that so that they got the numbers and they got what they needed to be successful. Because ultimately, to be honest, without Mike Wazowski, Sully is not what he needs to be. And that's a fact. Like, so that's what those movies talk about, is I think everybody has a role and everybody has this, you know, wonderful thing that they're good at. And so when you're feeling down and out and you feel like I don't have anything to contribute and I'm not as good as this person over here, you need to remember that there are many amazing talents that you have and many wonderful things that you do that make you an awesome person. And when you work hard, good things will ultimately follow. So that's kind of my thought on all. Those are just some characters that kind of came to my mind here. They're pressure washing the pool, so we'll kind of stop here off to the side. Maybe I'll come over into the courtyard a bit so we can say goodbye. But I hope you enjoyed that. Our 45-minute walk kind of turned into a 55-minute walk, but I'm not sad about that. I hope you enjoyed all the history about Port Orleans, both Port Orleans Riverside and Port Orleans French Quarter. I'll come into the courtyard here. I have many more live motivational walks. I try to fit them in as much as I can around ultimately our family schedules, but most times on Saturday mornings. I won't be able to do next Saturday morning. Saturday morning I'll be taking off because it is Adam's birthday. And next Saturday morning, maybe I'll try to do it another day this week, like throw in another one. But Adam is doing a fundraiser for Give Kids the World next Saturday. So he is going to be early morning over at Magic Kingdom. So with that, I won't be out walking first thing next week. I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope you found a little bit of encouragement and motivation and enjoyed this time this morning. With that, it is not a goodbye. It is a see you real soon. And I will see you on the next live stream right here on Park Pass TV. Bye-bye.